Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bitabyte. Today, we are starting an exciting series where we'll build a full stack application using React, JS, and Java Spring Boot. In this first video, we'll introduce you to full stack development and guide you through setting up the development environment. Let's dive in. Full stack development involves working on both the front end and the back end of the web application. The front end is what users interact with, and the back end is where the data processing happens. The front end is the user interface of the application where users interact with the app through web pages. It is built using React.js. You may think of the front end as a web browser or app on your phone. The API is the middle layer that connects the front end with the database. It processes the client's requests, performs the necessary operations, and sends back responses. It's developed using Java Spring Boot, which is a extension of the Spring framework that simplifies the bootstrapping and development of new Spring applications. The API includes methods for CRUD operations. CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. In this application, we will have the following: an endpoint that adds a new book to the database, an endpoint that updates existing books based on the ID provided, an endpoint that deletes a book from the database, and an endpoint that lists all books. The database is where all the data is stored. MongoDB is a NoSQL database that stores data in flexible JSON-like documents. The example document in the diagram represents a book with the fields like title, author, ISBN, publication date, genre, and additional nested information like rating, stock, and dimensions. For this project, we are going to use two IDEs, or integrated development environments. For our front-end React application, we're going to use Visual Studio Code. And for our Java application, we're going to use IntelliJ IDE from JetBrains. First of all, you'll need to download Node.js. You can download Node.js from nodejs.org and click on one of these installers for your operating system. To make sure it's installed correctly, run the command of node in your terminal or console, and it'll print the version of your Node.js. Once Node.js is installed, we'll create a new React application using the create React app command. We can copy it from the website, and I'll go ahead and call this book-front end. Yes to proceed. Now that our React app is created, we can go ahead and cd to that folder that we created. So book front end, and then go ahead and npm start. Give it a couple seconds, it'll spin up our React app. Localhost 3000. So there we go. You have successfully installed and created a React app. For the backend, before you do this, please ensure you have Java installed. We'll be using the Spring initializer to set up our Spring Boot project. So here's the Spring initializer. It's going to be a Maven project. We're going to select language Java. The dependencies we're going to add are Spring Web for RESTful stuff, and then Spring Data Reactive MongoDB for our NoSQL database. We're going to be using 3.2.1 and then 17 in jar. You can customize this as much as you want. So com.book, the API, name, anyhow. And then you go ahead and click generate. Then it'll generate that for you. Once we open the project, we can go ahead and open all these folders and then go to the main directory. Then go ahead and run the project. And we'll see that the application started. This exception is fine because we haven't set up the MongoDB database connection yet. We can go ahead and stop this application and create a controller called book controller and just have a REST controller with a get mapping and let it return the string hello world to just test and make sure everything works. So let's go ahead and start this application again. And you can see we have the Tomcat initialized on port 8080. So let's go to our web browser and open localhost 18080/test. We see we get that hello world. That means it's working perfectly fine. Next, we are going to install our MongoDB database on our local machine. In order to interact with the database, you can use the UI with MongoDB Compass. Just install it from this website. I'm going to install a MongoDB instance with a Docker image. So I'm going to do docker pull Mongo. It'll pull the latest image. I'll do this command, docker run the Mongo image with a root username of user and a root password as password, and then expose this port. And then it gives us a hash, which we know this is the container. And so now we can go ahead and connect to the database. That's it for today. We've set up our development environment for both the front end and the back end. In the next video, we'll start building our API. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.